when Ann and I work together in the collaborative planning process, we sort of have to tackle it in the funneling approach. The first thing we do is we take a look at the unit that's given to us from the curriculum, and then we call our beautiful minding session. So we take the curriculum, we break up the teaching points, we see which pieces work together, we think about who the kids are and what their needs are, and we sort of map out a pacing guide that tells us what day we're going to start, what day we're going to end, and all the things that we want to accomplish over the course of that. So that's sort of like using that curriculum and creating a pacing guide together based on the knowledge of the kids we have sort of drives all the other decisions we make. Then we zero in on one day and we think about what are the end goals, what are the teaching points, what are the objectives that we need to accomplish that day based on the kids that we have. From there, we set out a plan of what the instruction is going to look like. We think about the gradual release. We talk about what pieces we're going to model. We talk about what strategies we're going to use and when we're going to do things like the think aloud and what we want kids to get out of that and how we're going to check on that. And then we split up the duties. We think about what the day's going to look like from beginning to end, map out the pacing of it, and then we think about the duties. What are the things that have to happen in there?
And who's better at doing specific things also.
Right, so we play on our strengths and we think about that, and with my special education background and her significant English literary background, we're able to sort of take those two pieces and blend them together. So for example, today, the lesson that we put together for today, we started with knowing that our end goal was to get kids thinking about what a controlling idea is, how to discover controlling ideas when they're reading multiple texts, and how to take nonfiction and literary texts together and think about that concept of a controlling idea and a theme, which is going to feed tomorrow in their construction of well-developed paragraphs. Knowing those were our end goals, then we went to text selection.
And for text selection, we decided for the Think Aloud, the text that we had to pick out was a text that was going to be high interest, where we could get everyone involved, and they were able to see Jodi model her Think Aloud for the class and pull out. And as she was doing the Think Aloud, we were using all the strategies of a good reader that the kids learned about in the first unit.
Yeah, and we said that as I did the Think Aloud, we are going to make sure we call attention and name those specific strategies again, because when we keep naming them over and over, kids start to use that language. For example, Rufus, he said something about the text, and then he said, oh, wait, I just made a text-to-world connection, because we keep saying the language over and over again. So there were 3 pieces of nonfiction that were part of the curriculum that we wanted kids to read. But we knew that those were informational texts. And although some kids might be interested in it, the level of high interest and high motivation wasn't there. So we decided part of what we were going to do for scaffolding for specific students is to amp up the level of interest by finding a news article that had some of the similar themes that we could use as the Think Aloud to get them engaged and to get the energy level high and to increase that motivation to get all of the kids in the room to want to read the pieces of informational text that did accompany the curriculum unit. And we're going to lead them to make the conclusions we want them to make about themes in Othello, which is part of what we're doing in the Common Core curriculum right now.
And then for the other 3 articles, the nonfiction articles, we decided that we were going to break it up by lexile level, because in the class we have some low, middle, and high-end readers. Our groups right now that we have the kids in are by their reading level as of right now, but we switch groups around all the time depending on the activities that we're having the kids do. So we had a lower, a middle, and a high lexile level text that the kids read about jealousy, which was one of the themes that they're going to be encountering when we're reading Othello for our unit.
Right, and the lower level text and all 3 of the texts have the same controlling idea, so kids are able to come up with the same conclusions and all participate in the teaching points and the objectives of the day, but they are set up and scaffolded so that all kids can access that information. The lower level texts were 1 page, and specifically for one student that has some issues with attending, we actually take the text and we copy it and paste it in Microsoft Word and reformat it so that we can blow it up a little bit bigger and play with the margins so that it physically is easier for the student to finger track and to follow. So you think about making sure that at the end of the day all the kids are getting the necessary information based on the data that we have and what we know about what their specific learning needs are.